Hello everyone, Marcelo is my name. I am the niche fragrance collector and I'm excited to be talking to you about Gourmand. Gourmand as a fragrance family is probably one of my, actually that's a lie. They're all my, because like if I want to talk about dry woods or mossy woods, I'm like, yeah, I love that family too. Anyway, I love perfumes, but I'm really excited about talking about Gourmands. I do enjoy a beautiful Gourmand fragrance. Picture this. You're in Paris or Milan and you smell something in the air. Buttery, pastry, slight sweet vanilla tones, honey-like. And then finally you walk into this gorgeous looking pastry store and you are not only seduced by that smell, well the smell's already seduced you, but you're seduced now by the beauty of these beautiful pastries. To smell something divine, I get it from a food point of view, that scent in the air is just exquisite. But why would you want to wear that? Why would you, as humans, why do we choose to put on these praline, these vanillas, these almond-like fragrances on our bodies? It's interesting that Gourmand as a category is brand new. It's not one of the old fragrance families like a FUEGUIA or a Chypre or anything like that. Believe it or not, 1992 was the birth of Gourmand. It came out from Thierry Mugler, who released Angel. That is the birth. That is the line in the sand, the flag in the ground of when Gourmands commenced. And it's also interesting to note that when Angel was first released, they hated it. Well, probably not hate. I mean, they didn't hate it. That's the wrong word. But they didn't like it. A lot of people were like, what is this? It's also interesting to note that what Thierry wanted to do is recreate his childhood when he was at the fair. And he wanted notes of cotton candy or pralines or fruit notes, apple and custard. So he wanted these very unique notes that hadn't been done before in perfumery. And when people first smelt it, they were like, oh, what is this? And it's interesting because they were repulsed, but narcotic-like. They kept coming back to it. They're like, oh, no, I can smell cotton candy. I can smell pralines. I'm smelling caramel, but mamacita, that caramel smells good. Now, today I'd like to present to you, these are ones that I love wearing. I enjoy them deeply. They're not in any particular order. So don't think that because I'm going to start here, this is my number one, or finish here, this is my number one. A question that sometimes gets raised is that Gourmands are deemed as just cool weather fragrances. Not, well, this man says not true. I don't think so. And this particular lineup that I'm presenting to you today really is all year round. Some of them are distinctly for cooler weather, but there are some that you can wear in summer, that I wear in summer and I can enjoy. Not full heat. So let me just qualify that. So this is not like, I mean, Melbourne, we get like 40 plus degrees, can get quite warm. And I wouldn't necessarily be wearing this in the day of that 40 degrees, but I would wear it of an evening. So let me start with ROJA. I think, well, not I think, ROJA is probably one of the greatest perfumers out there. He has an incredible collection of fragrances. The man is a genius when it comes to combining notes that you think, how does that work? I mean, I know, like, for instance, some of the fragrances, he puts base notes, very heavy molecules, up in the top of the pyramid. So these musks are popping out earlier on. This fragrance here is called Enigma, and I think Enigma is the right word for it. For me, this starts off very bright, very happy, very booze-like. So for me, this is a boozy kind of Gourmand fragrance, cognac. But it has, and this is the enigma of it. So you get that brightness on that opening, super alluring on the start, but then it changes. And then it starts to all migrate, and it retains some of that boozy cognac component to it at the start. There's a whisper of fruit coming through and a hint of vanilla. It's on the dry down that these particular notes begin to take more shape. And I find that on skin, this is what I get to my nose. On skin, as I move around, I get a blend of sour notes, which is unusual, and sweet notes. I'm going to say the sour notes are more directed towards, I know there's cardamom and I also know there's ginger in there. And I think maybe, I'm defining them as sour, but maybe it's spicy, but it has something that is unusual to the point where I'm like, what is that? And you know what's funny? I find that sometimes scents or smells that are a little bit, not necessarily off-putting, but they're like kind of draw your attention. As you're like, what is that? It brings you into, for you to explore it deeper. What is that? Is that sweet? Is that? And I think that's what Enigma does. It gives you this balance between something that is seductive and sweet and alluring with something that is slightly, it's like I said, sour. I'm going to say it's sour. To my nose, it's kind of sour, but it could be spicy to other people's noses. I find that Enigma has great longevity, has 8+ hours comfortably on my skin. I find that the sillage is moderate. Whenever I'm wearing it, people are picking up on this particular fragrance. I find that this is the one that I can comfortably wear all year round. It works really well in winter. It's not a cool weather fragrance, in my opinion. And I think it's, again, those spicy sour notes that is giving it that other twist. It's not one of those sitting by the fireplace, kind of warm sort of fragrances. There are some brighter notes in there that make it work really well in a summer setting. For me, this is a going out of an evening in summer, comfortably, open shirt, just feeling that night air, and this baby really projecting itself out. I know that in the base, ROJA is putting in both vanilla and benzoin. And benzoin is a vanilla-like resin that has some woody facets to it. So you're getting a vanilla, you're getting this vanilla tone coming through, but it's not like a pastry vanilla. It's not a sweetness. So that woodiness, I guess, pulls it away from being a deep gourmand. I'm getting it. There's like a fizz almost, like there's like a sparkle in the nose. And I reckon, that's an Aussie term, I believe that it is the ginger and the cardamom, giving it a bit of a brightness, a bit of a spark. Mind you, I say that like I know what ROJA is doing. He's probably got 1,000,001 different ingredients in there. And he's like, ginger and cardamom, yeah, sure, no worries. But there's also, I don't know, bing, bada, boom, bada, bing, all these other notes that are creating this complexity to it. Gorgeous fragrance, great place to start. If you're new to gourmands, so if you're wanting to get into this sort of thing, want to explore it, then maybe I did put these in a particular order, because I would definitely start here. If you wanted to step into a gourmand fragrance, try it Enigma. There are some sweetness in there, but it's not overt. It's not to the point where you're thinking that you're wearing a pudding. I mean, mind you, none of these are pudding-like in there, so they're not over the top, they're not overwhelming. To move in deeper now, Clive Christian E, in my opinion, is a classic gourmand in every sense. If you want a true gourmand, sweet, alluring, gorgeous, divine, sexy, complex, woody facets, vanilla facets, spicy facets, sweetness, then this is the one. I said earlier that I don't have favorites, and it's true, I don't have favorites. But I really love this one. I enjoy, I'm actually wearing it on this arm, and I can't roll it back, but I was wearing it today, and it it makes me happy. I think the reason that I'm so drawn to this particular fragrance is that it balances all these components so beautifully, because too much sweet is too much sweet. You know, to have an overdose of vanilla, it just becomes an overdose of vanilla. To have too much spices in your fragrance, well, then you're not really enjoying the rest of the facets to that particular fragrance. I find that the Clive Christian E balances all these components so wonderfully. Where it starts, how it moves through, where it dries down. It's just this beautiful dance. It has that maple syrup-like quality, that sweetness, but it has a woody component, which sort of brings it down a tad, especially on opening. You get like a sugar hit. You get this brightness of some sort of caramel or sugary. Maple syrup, I think, or I feel, is the theme to this, because I'm getting a maple syrup vibe on the start, and then when it dries down, there is this beautiful, rich, honey maple syrup-like quality to it. I know it also has clove in there. To my nose, can be very polarizing. find that sometimes if the clove note is too heavy on the opening, it almost becomes medicinal. It's a little bit too, I feel like I'm at the dentist, and it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit pungent to my nose. Whereas here, that clove is in there, but it's like it's been, you know, just lathered in honey or maple syrup or something sweet. You're just getting that slight spiciness of the clove, but that sugary component starts to weave its way through. I wouldn't wear Enigma as a going out fragrance. The two balancing between the sour and the sweet might not necessarily play too well, especially if it's a first date. May not, you know, I don't know which part of that fragrance will come through first. Whereas if you are on a first date, then I would recommend to you Clive Christian E. This is pure seduction. There is this wonderful, just everything about it just puts you at ease. There is this calmness, there is this sweetness. There are some, as I mentioned, some woody components in there, so it doesn't just stay in this high sort of sugary sort of place. It does bring it down. There is this beautiful ambery depth to it. The vanillas are playing in there beautifully. Gorgeous, just a gorgeous fragrance. I love wearing it. This is now more wintry. This is definitely by the fireplace kind of fragrance. It is eternal. I'm gonna give you a heads up. If you wanna wear something different the next day, you need to wash this one off. Clive Christian E has like 24 hours on it. You will smell it to the point, and then, I know this sounds like an exaggeration, but I wear it during the day. The next day, as I put my pajamas on, I can smell Clive Christian E. It is still built into, and I didn't spray it on the pajamas, I sprayed it on me, on my skin, but yet it's transferring across. Really exquisite fragrance, something that you need to experience this. I would strongly recommend it. Longevity, when it comes to its sillage, just, it pushes out. It has this wonderful trail, great projection, just everything about this particular, I like it. I don't know how else. I do enjoy this fragrance. I enjoy it a lot. As a gourmand, this is, if we all had a barrel full of cash, you would get this lineup. Well, I would recommend for you this particular lineup. But if you only have money for one, I would go out and hunt Clive Christian E out, test it out, see how it plays on you. But for me, as a gourmand fragrance, just gorgeous. And look, I'm going to go one more. The actual brand itself, I'm in love with Clive Christian as a brand. Beautiful heritage brand from England. This crown here actually belongs, or no, this doesn't belong to Queen Victoria. She gave permission to allow her crown to be on here. The original company was called Crown Perfumery Co., created in 1872, and Clive Christian resuscitated that brand and has retained a lot of the historical and heritage components to it. So it's one of the, there's just awesome legacy, beautiful heritage, and then incredible actual fragrance. So my next one is a XERJOFF. That goes without saying. Before you even spray ERBA PURA, the bottle is divine. I'm a very tactile person. My wife would always tell me off when we first got married. I have to smell things. I have to touch and smell things. So whenever if I'm buying something, not only do I want to feel it, the fruit or whatever it may be, but I also want to smell. So for me, with XERJOFF, I get both. I get the tactile component to it. There's this beautiful velvety cover that it has on it. And then I get to enjoy this particular fragrance. Now, some people may say that ERBA PURA does not belong in a gourmand lineup. And look, you're going to be partly correct. The point could be that it's a fruity fragrance more than a gourmand fragrance. However, what are fruits but other than edible product? So this is, and for me, gourmand are edible notes. So bada bing, ERBA PURA is in the lineup. Now, ERBA PURA can be polarizing. I have heard some people say that it is not for them. My son, not for him. It's too much fruit. It is way too sweet. It is very female leaning because of the fruits in it, the very sort of light musk that's in there. There are where these other two had some woody components to it, sort of give it a little bit of a masculine edge. There is no masculine edge to ERBA PURA to my nose. I would categorize this as a floral amber because there is a certain level of warmth in it, but it is quite fruity, floral, very high when it comes to its scent profile. I love wearing it because the fruits stay on me all day long. Ladies and gents, if you want a beast mode fragrance, then ERBA PURA is absolutely phenomenal. Beast mode to the max. And it's interesting that there are no woods or leathers or anything too heavy. This is floral in its construct, fruity in its projection, and this light musk that sits on top of it all. But it lasts forever. This is like, again, another 12, 24 hours. You're still smelling ERBA PURA. This is another one where on my, I wake up in the morning, I can smell it on my pajamas, when I can smell it in my bed. When it comes to its projection, it is enormous. This will fill a room. I don't recommend that you wear this to the office. Some people will go, what is going on? This is great if you're going to an outdoor dining, you're going to a festival, you're going somewhere where this fragrance can breathe. This will just go everywhere. I'm telling you, you will seduce a crowd. It is, as I mentioned before, female leaning, so boys who are not really comfortable with high florals, very soft fruits, this might not be the one for you. The musk does settle it down a bit more, but it definitely is a very high floral, high fruit fragrance. I love that on the XERJOFF website, he mentions that it's a basket of Mediterranean fruits. So he doesn't define what fruits are in there. And I think what I love about it is I love breathing in and defining what is in this basket. There are times when I smell it, I'm getting a very clear melon note. There are other times when I'm smelling cherry and peach. Other times I'm feeling that there is like a strawberry. And then other times I'm smelling, oh, I just got something like a nectarine just then. Sometimes I get like an apple. It is a basket of Mediterranean fruits. Sometimes I even get a mango. Like this sweet, juicy, but anyway, ERBA PURA, glorious, just gorgeous. This is a summer fragrance. I haven't been wearing this as a winter fragrance on bright, summery, spring day, fantastic. Heavy heat, I don't recommend it to you. As a lighter sort of, as a going out fragrance on a beautiful summery day. As I said, for me, I find that this one here, I haven't really worn in the office. Our office is not huge, and I find that it could be a little bit overpowering for people within the office. But as a going out, outdoor, let it breathe kind of fragrance, sillage on this will, like I said, will go for miles. Just glorious. And it's a XERJOFF. I mean, exquisite, complex, divine, just a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. We're moving across now to Argentina. So we had Italy, actually we had UK, Italy, Argentina now. I was recently in Milan and created this episode. I spent quite a bit of time in a store called FUEGUIA. Now FUEGUIA is a brand from Argentina. It's based in Patagonia. The perfumer, or the owner of the house, his name is Julian Badel. He's a naturalist. He's very much connected to the land, and he creates exquisite perfumes. And I know that sounds very biased coming from another Argentinian. If you ever get a chance, there are only 7 boutiques around the world. You need to visit one of these boutiques. Just everything about them, his collection is vast and expansive. No matter what kind of fragrance family you want to enjoy, FUEGUIA will have that particular fragrance. When I was in Milan, as I mentioned, I did the video, and in the video I mentioned that I bought 2 fragrances, which is true. I bought those 2 fragrances. But I was talking also about this one here, which is ARABICA. I walked away from that boutique and I could not stop smelling my arm. I was smelling this beautiful Arabica coffee with the spicy components. There was an earthiness to it, slight woody tones. It had me seduced. And I go back to, it was similar to that narcotic experience that I was saying, where although I wasn't repelled, I was only attracted. I was just like, I cannot get enough. I went back the next day. Now, I want to thank my financier who allowed me to go back the next day and buy this one too. I put forward an awesome argument, and the argument is that this was a test. It's a test in the store. There was a limited number that was being created, and it was only available in that Milan store. So my argument was solid. Anyway, my wonderful financier allowed me to go back and buy Arabica. It hasn't been released worldwide yet. If you happen to be in any of those boutiques, I would look for this particular fragrance. If you like a coffee note, this is the most sublime coffee, robust and spicy, yet woody, aromatic, just everything about this. And I'm gonna, because I've been wearing this today. This is my fragrance of choice. So this is not a coffee shop. So don't think that this is going to be like walking into a Starbucks or your favorite coffee joint. This is opening up a Hessian bag and the raw material, that aroma coming out, I guess the grassiness, the earthiness of all of that coming together. It is bright, it is clear, it is aromatic, it is vibrant, it is energizing. This fragrance is pure magic. As I mentioned, I've been wearing this today. When my editor walked in, and this would have been now probably 2 hours, I'd already been in the office 2 hours, and the first thing she said was, whatever you're wearing today, it smells amazing. I can smell it throughout the whole office. Arabica. This is a coffee fragrance that, unlike any others, I've got a few coffee fragrances in my collection, but nothing as aromatic, as clear, as and it's not true to form, because at the end of the day, it's a perfume. You don't want to be smelling like a coffee cup or a coffee bean or anything of that nature. I know that it has vetiver in the base of the fragrance, and that vetiver gives it this earthy grassiness to it, but there's also a woody tone. There's also tobacco in the heart note, and that again lends itself to that beautiful earthiness. The sillage on this fragrance is pretty good. I'm getting a moderate to just a little bit more. So it's not a full sillage, I don't believe, but definitely not a compressed sort of moderate. When it comes to its projection, I'm getting pretty good projection. As I move around and heat up, the fragrance begins to emanate from me. As I mentioned this morning, the moment my editor walked in, boom, she instantly picked up on the scent. And when it comes to its longevity, I'm getting a 6+ hours out of it. So yeah, it's a robust, wonderfully aromatic, a lot brighter gourmand fragrance. For those who are familiar with The Prodigy, now what's that got to do with gourmand fragrances? The drummer, Leo Crabtree, is actually the owner of Beaufort, London. Go and listen to the song Voodoo People. That was released back in the 90s. That thing has not aged. That still has the energy, the vibrance of a song that could be released today. That is pure classic. Anyway, so Leo Crabtree is the owner of Beaufort, London. And in a way, it does make sense that he is the owner of the brand. Beaufort, London this is now niche of niche. This is not for everybody. Beaufort, London specialize in complex, unusual, but yet exciting fragrances. He works a lot with smoke. He works a lot with woods and leathers. In this case here, and it's all connected to some level of history when it comes to England. Lignum vitae, what does it mean? Latin for wood of life or tree of life. The backstory on this particular fragrance here, it celebrates the marine chronometer, the very first marine chronometer that was created in wood, made by or made from this tree of life, this Lignum vitae. What I love about this particular fragrance is that it balances between being a gourmand and yet it has these bright, citrus, marine-like quality to it. You need to experience it. It's something that you like. How does that even work? On opening, you're getting like a sea salt spray that comes through, has a cake-like quality to it, lemon components. So when Leo creates the fragrances, he creates a whole story around them. In the case of Lignum vitae, it's about not only the chronometer that was created, but it's about the cargo, the ship, the exotics, the spices, the woods of the actual boat itself, but also the captain's quarters where he is having a Madeleine cake. It's all told in this story here. The sea salt, the lemon, the cake-like qualities, the wood. As a unique gourmand, Lignum vitae takes the award. It wears beautifully on skin. This is one that I can comfortably wear during summer. This is one that I'm wearing. As a winter fragrance, there is too much of a brightness to it. Even though I'm getting those cake-like qualities from it, I find that the citrus and that aquatic component to it really comes forward. So as a summer fragrance, when it comes to a gourmand, spectacular. Last one is Italica by CASAMORATI. For those who are not familiar, the lids are the same. XERJOFF, CASAMORATI have a very similar lid. Sergio Momo, who is the owner of XERJOFF, wanted to preserve the history of this Italian brand. Established in 1888 by Claudio CASAMORATI. He was a perfumer, but also created, other toiletries and things of that nature. And he wanted to, I guess, retain the history and the heritage of that brand. So he kept it with CASAMORATI, but he christened it with these classic signature lid. Notice I'm going to spray this one too. Hang on. That was my... Oh, I've got perfume everywhere. All right, inside. Again, no favorites, but I just love the milky almond-like quality of this fragrance. I just can't get enough. You know what I think I've discovered? That I really enjoy that pastry analogy that I used. I really love walking, the smell that entices me when I'm visiting a new city and I'm smelling this sweetness, these pastries in the air. I'm just drawn to that. If you like amaretti, so there is a beautiful Italian biscuit that is made from almonds, but it's a bitter almond. It has a bitter component to it. It's soft, it's kind of chewy. My mother-in-law makes them. I love buying them when I'm in Italy. It's a wonder that I'm not bigger than what I am. But if you like that beautiful, milky, almond-like quality, vanilla tones in there, it has a slight sandalwood in that base. Italica is glorious. I was going to say, is it feminine leaning or is it masculine leaning, or is it more? Look, if anything, if I were to sort of say where would it does lean a little bit onto the feminine side, not overtly like an ERBA PURA where it's really pushing across. This is just on the borderline. I think the slight, not that it has a bitter note to it, but the slight bitterness of the almond gives it a sort of a woody masculine sort of edge to it. But it definitely is, on first spray, it is milky, divine, with that slight almond sort of creaminess around it. Just gorgeous. You don't smell like a pastry shop. You don't think that by wearing this that you're going to feel like a pastry shop has seeped into your skin. It is a perfume. It does retain the perfume-like qualities, but it's opulent. It has this richness to it. It's fun to wear. It's just glorious to wear. And the sillage on this is extraordinary. It really pushes itself out. The projection on me, when I'm wearing this fragrance, I have a cloud of Italica around me. It's definitely an office fragrance. It's easy going out fragrance. This is an all day. This is a nice spring, fall, winter kind of fragrance. Even though it's not ambery warm, there is a warmth to it. And I think maybe again, it's that almond. It's the pastriness. It's like walking into just this divine Italian, exquisite pastry store. And it's just glorious. It's just beautiful. It's alluring, it's seductive. As a going out, fantastic. As a date fragrance, oh my gosh, they will be buying you roses. Even if you're a man, you'll be getting roses with this baby on. So there you have it. Collection of beautiful gourmand fragrances that just makes you fall in love. I find that a beautiful gourmand, it makes me as a wearer so happy. It makes those who come in contact with me just as happy. It's almost like those cartoons where the scent is wafting through the air and all of a sudden the person is floating towards that. That's what a gourmand fragrance does. Thanks everyone, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.